Schlagenheim is the debut album from UK rock band Black Midi. Black Midi have seemingly come out of nowhere. It just seems as though they've rose to the top really quickly in the rock world with their incredibly polarizing live performances that they have definitely become known for at this point. I haven't actually watched any of their live performances as of yet, but their live EP last year caught a huge amount of buzz and just gained this band a major amount of hype very early on. Now for me, it's always first and foremost the album that I'm mostly anticipating when it comes to bands. Yeah, sure, the EP can definitely get you excited. It has done for artists in the past, but I'm just mostly focusing on the album itself. What can they bring to the table with their album? No amount of live performances really can get me on the hype train until I've heard the album, and they have dropped quite a few singles over the course of the past year too, and I only heard a few of them and they didn't really impress me all that much. So it kind of got me worrying a little bit. Was this going to be an album that everyone was going to, extremely get excited over, and I would just be left out in the cold because the Talking Heads single just really wasn't all that for me? And now the album is here. It is here, and it's just a Pere Abu album, really. Is something a Rate Your Music user would say. No, seriously, this is actually really quite a good album. I'm enjoying this quite a bit. Now, on first listen though, no, I was just like, nah, this is not the one for me. But a few listens later, I've definitely started to grow to like this, which makes me kind of wonder, maybe months down the line, will it get even better for me? Because the subsequent listens, it has kept getting better. Maybe that will be the case, but for now I do think this is a very good debut album. You gotta remember, this is a young band, man. You gotta take that into account, because they could definitely take things to the next level in the future with their sound, because this is some good stuff. There's definitely a few issues that I have with the album that I can't quite shake off just yet, but I'll get to those later. But the album itself is filled with so much frantic herky-jerkiness that honestly reminds me of when Or had just started around, and they have probably take some similar influences actually. Mostly I'm talking about the Sun Coming Down album from 2015. Those kind of frenetic, all over the place vocal performances that just get you thinking, what is going on with this guy's voice? In a good way though, in a very good way. There's some really weird and strange time signatures being played throughout. There's some slow burning post-rock-esque instrumentals too. There's some post-punk influence, there's some no-wave influence, which just completely takes you back to the 80s, where that was a very common sound in rock music for that time. Maybe I should say underground rock music specifically. I'm not talking the mainstream, of course. But they do bring all these influences together and make it their own, which is one thing that I always seek out for in a band. And again, to get this unique style and sound so early on is just impressive in itself. I mean, the way the intro track just takes a while to get going, it's testing your patience, but that friggin' last section of the song just gets really propulsive, and oh man, I just love it. Honestly, kind of made me think that if they just kept this up for the whole song, what would it have been like instead? I think I might have ended up even loving it more. Speedway is a very cold sounding song. I can't really quite pinpoint why I feel that way, but it just has this kind of dark energy to it, while also just once again getting quite noisy at points, and it just gets so exciting and exhilarating when those moments crop up. On the tracks Reggae and Bmbmbm, you're getting those wild and crazy vocals that I keep bringing up as well. These are some of the best moments on the album for sure. What a magnificent purpose. Gotta be one of the strangest vocal performances of the year. And this track came out last year, I think, or at least a while ago, and I just never got around to hearing it. But now I've heard it, I'm just like, yeah. Similarly with Reggae as well, that kind of strangeness coming out in the vocals over a bit more of a busier instrumental. These are definitely some of my favourite tracks here for sure. The issues for me though lie within some of the tracks like Western, for example, but this track is about 8 minutes long. It's not necessarily a long song, but it feels long because it just kind of seems directionless to me. They don't take anywhere and they don't really do anything that kind of wows me, or if they're doing things that are interesting, it kind of feels like they're just repeating some of the ideas as well. Like some of the math rock instrumentals, like it kind of feels like they're copying and pasting just onto other tracks. And not to say that all the tracks sound the same, because they don't, but sometimes it just feels like they're repeating what they've already done. And I think for a band that has proven they can really improvise and go wild at live shows, you would just think that on the studio version of their debut album, they would probably incorporate some of that. But I don't know, it just feels like maybe they're just not really going as far as they can. Like, take the ending of Near DTMI, where it just absolutely becomes this bustling, insane moment on the album that you just think, why can't they just extend this out and make it a longer song and do the whole thing for like 3 or 4 minutes? Because that would just be crazy, but it just kind of feels like it's thrown on at the end, and they could explore more of that, but they just don't really. Same with Years Ago, where again it's just like a couple of minutes of nothing, and then the last section of the song, it really just completely like takes you by storm. Like, it is such a chaotic moment that I think they get right on a track like of Schlagenheim, because at least the build up is a bit more satisfying, and once you get to that point, it just is unbelievable. I guess the point I'm making is that on the shorter tracks you don't really need that much of a build up, and yet they still have those similar type of build ups on those ones, whereas you could just take it straight in there and just blow my mind. But yeah, overall, this is still really quite good. I mean, the last few moments of the album are so unbelievably cathartic and dissonant. It's just such a wonderful moment. They hit these levels of unbelievable satisfaction at points, and they still keep quite a strange energy going throughout. This is some good stuff. I'll go 7 out of 10. I think it definitely could grow on me as the year goes on, but we shall see. Definitely looking forward to seeing what they do in the future, and hopefully catching them at a live show. But yeah, let me know what you think of this. I definitely think this will be a highlight for many people this year. Like, this will be like a top 10 contender for most people for 2019, and I'm glad to see it. I'm glad to see it. Thank you for watching my review. Hope you have a good day. Bye.